Hi, my name is Bianca Gentile, and today I'll be presenting to you the topic of tourism and disaster. First, we must understand what these two terms mean. Disasters strike without prior notice and can disrupt an area on many different levels. Some examples of disasters are tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, tsunamis, and earthquakes. Tourism can be defined as all temporary visits to another region, domestic or foreign, lasting more than 24 hours. At first, you may think that the connection between these two topics is incongruous. But when you take a closer look, it is evident how much tourism can be affected by disasters. Therefore, tourism is extremely vulnerable to disasters because it depends on so many components of individual businesses, and disasters can leave lasting impacts. When disasters destroy areas, it affects people visiting the area and also leads to unemployment to those working in that tourist area. Additionally, government spending decreases due to a lack of revenue. Now we will discuss how disasters can have such a negative effect on tourism. Tourism has been one of the bright spots in the New Orleans economy in terms of employment. Besides the attraction of its French Quarter, its internationally renowned restaurants, and its first-class accommodations, a series of celebrations, including Mardi Gras, the New Orleans Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, has drawn thousands of tourists to the city. Between 1990 and 2004, jobs grew by 33% in the sector, and they continued to grow in the months preceding. Then in 2005, Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans, and Louisiana lost billions due to the lack of tourism after the hurricane. In 2004, the year before the Category 3 hurricane struck, New Orleans saw a record 10.1 million visitors. In 2006, the year after the floods, the number shrank to 3.7 million. Job losses during the fourth quarter were due to two factors: the destruction of the city's infrastructure, thereby eliminating places of employment, and the destruction of homes and the subsequent public health crisis, which together forced large segments of the employed population to leave the city. Tourism here has slowly but surely come back. Another example would be the tsunami that took place in Thailand in 2004. The Thailand tsunami was the worst natural disaster in Thailand's written history, with 5,395 confirmed deaths and 2,932 missing people. In Thailand, tourism is an important part of the Thai economy, contributing almost 6% of GDP in 2002. The effects of the tsunami were massive, and the cleanup and rehabilitation were long and tedious. The enormous impact on Thailand's tourism industry resulted in tremendous damage to the country and its economy as a whole. The physical repair was not the only rehabilitation that the tourism industry required. Tourism also took a sharp decline because of fear of this unfortunate event happening again. The emotional impact that the tsunami had on tourists, as well as the uncertainty of the weather patterns in the southern region and the high death tolls, kept tourists from making plans to visit this area. As the number of tourists declined, the hotels and restaurants that were not demolished in the tsunami had to close down because of lack of business. This led to a large number of people without jobs in the southern Thailand provinces. Since the damage to the beaches and the hotels could not be restored immediately after the tsunami hit, there was a long period of vacant hotel rooms, leaving hotel workers, beach vendors, and employees of any business that catered to tourist leisure activities without work. On the other hand, we must note that a disaster can indeed promote tourism. Let's take a closer look. The flood which took place in Boss Castle on August 14, 2004, can be documented as one of the worst floods in history. This tiny village, located in the United Kingdom, was not well known, but once this flood occurred, the tiny village was immediately given attention to by the media, and the public's knowledge increased. Therefore, since more people now knew about this village, it led for more people wanting to visit the area. Disasters like this also lead for cities to be better prepared for the future. A few years later, Boss Castle spent £800,000 on flood-proofing the city. That same year, a flood of the same magnitude occurred, and since the city was prepared, therefore there was hardly. There are difficult challenges that cities and its people must face to overcome the aftermath and the effects of natural disasters. A major challenge would be restoring the image of the affected area and to bring back and attract tourists to get things back to how they used to be. It can also be very difficult due to the media, which tends to focus on the negative effects rather than how the area is recovering. In conclusion, as we can see, preparation for a disaster is key. It can lead to better outcomes when disasters hit, which will not have much effect on tourism, as well as save lives and property. Additionally, emergency plans are extremely important because it is a system that includes steps into recovering from a natural disaster.